Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 meeting that's already in session. At this time, I am going to do item 2.2, motion to adjourn executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And Ms. Windsor is going to give an up or a down. She has a non-contagious laryngitis right now, so we're grateful to have her here, but if you're seeing her doing hand signals, that's how we're going to communicate this evening. All seeing no no's, motion passes. 3.01, Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 3.02, approval of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move approval of the minutes from September 3rd.
Agenda.
Agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 4.01, approval modification of minutes from the September 3rd, 2025 governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
You're going to give it to Eric, Brittany? All those in, do I have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 5.01, approval of consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Lemon.
I think the item on Green's case is.
Correct.
I'd like separate discussion on
So I have a motion to move the item. Hold on. Thank you. 5.09. One second. And then we do have our attorney Carrie with it. Do we not have her now? Okay, so then what I'm going to recommend or ask you to recommend, Mr. Lemon, is that we move it to action and discussions at 8.
You just can pull it out of consent and then have a discussion right after consent for that particular agenda item. You
Okay,
can do
so
it
we
that way.
now. Okay, so do I have a motion to move, first I'm going to make a motion for that, and then we'll go back to consent agenda. And Mr. Lemon, I'm going to have you wordsmith it for me.
Madam President, I move for separate discussion on item 5.09, approval of board request for proposal 260931 for immersive media learning environment.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Now I'm going to go back to consent agenda. Approval of consent agenda minus Mr. Lemon's 5.09, correct?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye, motion passes. I'd like to thank John Brusky, the Thai Foundation, and Safeway Albertsons Companies Foundation for their donations of more than $20,000 to support our students and our staff. Item 6.0, oh no, we're going to go now to 5.09. Do I have a motion? So that you can do discussion.
Madam President, I move approval of the immersive media learning environment proposal, the award for it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Now discussion.
Yeah, Madam President, one of the things when I was reviewing this item, I saw that it was quite a bit of money, and I thought there wasn't any backup to it that we had posted. Now, since then, I've received some backup, so I understand more about it, but the public doesn't. And so I was just concerned that I wanted more transparency to know if anybody's questioning that we have the information and now, and it sounds like a good idea to us at this point. And so it is for me, and I think some of us saw this sort of environment and this sort of equipment at ASU a couple years ago. And I was impressed, and I think it's the way to go. So, but I just didn't understand that it was the same thing.
Okay, that's
So
good.
now I do. Thank you.
Excellent. Any more discussion? Mr. Thierry.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm noticing here in the notes that a notice of solicitation was sent out to 127 vendors and only one proposal was received. And I think that's just the nature of being on the cutting edge of something. There aren't 130 people doing something. It's just the one who's actually doing something. So it seems like that could be a good sign.
Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. 6.01, Celebrate Excellence. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Dr. Driscoll.
Ben, are you going to be my clicker, I hope? I'm proud to announce that Tempe Elementary School has officially joined the 34 other leading school districts as members of Digital Promise League of Innovative Schools to advance innovation and excellence in education. We were selected from a competitive national pool of applicants, including only one other Arizona district, to be a part of this network of school districts that connects and supports the nation's most forward-thinking leaders in education. The League of Innovative Schools equips superintendents and district leaders to help shape the future of teaching and learning through hands-on opportunities to collaborate, connect, and learn. This week, Fuller Elementary is hosting Celebrate Difference Week. This week provides opportunities for students to learn about different disabilities and how these individuals adapt and thrive. Activities include simulation stations, adaptive equipment, abilities panels, and athletes from Together We Can Live team and more. A special shout out to Fuller's resource teacher, Wendy Sokshi. I butchered it. Sosha. Yes. Sorry, Wendy. For organizing this amazing week of learning for students. Thank you, Ben. Sixth graders in Kelsey Gardner's ELA class at Aspire Academy at Connolly recently participated in meaningful conversations as part of the Philosophical Chairs activity to explore the question, should schools run on a year-round calendar? Philosophical Chairs is a structured classroom discussion activity where students physically arrange themselves into 3 groups, yes, no, or undecided, and then engage in thoughtful dialogue with classmates. By the end, most students found themselves leaning in favor of year-round school calendars. And that concludes my Celebrate Excellence for this week.
Thank you, Dr. Driscoll. 7.01, open call to the public. We have no blue cards, correct? Seeing that there are no blue cards, we will continue to the next agenda item. 8.01, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of a contract with Schneider Electric not to exceed $12 million for installation of solar panels at Curry and Connolly schools. We will be voting on this. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move approval of the contract with Schneider Electric not to exceed $12 million for the installation of solar panels at Curry and Conley schools.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, we have a
Yes.
presentation for you.
Yes, thank you. We have so much to talk about because this is very exciting.
President Windsor, members of the board, thanks for having us tonight. I've got Brandon Woodward here with Schneider Electric who's going to go through the presentation for you.
Thanks, Eric. Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Driscoll, it is good to see you again. I thought you were going to make that too easy on me, and I got dressed up for nothing. But I'm excited to share the latest iteration of a project we've been talking about for a while with the district, and that's our Phase 3, looking specifically at solar and EV charging for the buses at Curry and Connolly. But before I do that, I wanted to quickly highlight Phase 1 and 2 that the governing board approved earlier this year, which, if you remember, was focused on those 4 primary areas: comprehensive LED lighting, interior and exterior, across almost all the district sites, optimizing your building automation system, solar-covered parking and play areas at 10 sites, and then a big focus on water efficiency through artificial turf, xeriscape, and smart irrigation, all of which is projected to save the district over $1 million a year on your M&O budget, and over $45 million over the life of that project, which one big piece there, in addition to that, is there's over $5.1 million we were able to capture, or will be able to capture, in free funding, federal funding, state and local grants. So we'll touch on that a little bit more in relation to Curry and Connolly, but kind of the highlights there. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of things happening across the district, but just a couple pictures to highlight the construction you're seeing. These are 2 of the 10 solar sites. These are covered parking at Shamley and McKemie. We've also got solar-covered basketball courts going in, some student pickup areas, but a lot happening, and we're doing everything we can to build these outside of school time so we can limit the disruption there. And then the other big one you'll see a lot of is strategic turf and xeriscaping in a lot of the areas, smaller areas that are largely community focused. So the fronts of the schools and some of the courtyards, really helping on the curb appeal and saving a ton of water for the district. So a couple sites there, and then Ward and McKemie also that they just recently wrapped up. So I don't know if you've been by any of those schools recently, but the impact that had on the curb appeal of those is phenomenal. So love how those have turned out. And then the last piece, this is a recent addition. These are photos from yesterday. We had our student engagement team out on site. They were at Frank yesterday, Holdeman today, and Scales, Tech Academy, not Sales, tomorrow. But the 4th graders, part of their curriculum is efficiency and sustainability. So as part of that, we partner with these schools, and we've done all of their 4th graders at each of these sites. We did a lesson on sustainability, what they're seeing at some of their schools as far as projects being implemented, and then they all got to design and build these solar cars that they then raced and get to take home. So I was at Holdeman this morning building those with a bunch of 4th graders, so I'm a little tired, but we're here. But had a great experience doing that. We always try and tie everything we're doing back into the learning environment, and it was conveniently timed that was all this week. So thank you to Joanna Hughes and Brittany Franklin and their team for pulling that together. They've been fantastic working through that. So that is what we've been up to for Phase 1 and 2. And then on Phase 3, very straightforward. You've got 2 very innovative schools going in at Curry and Connolly. And so we're looking at doing about 1.6 megawatts of solar at those 2 sites, along with a level 3 rapid EV bus charger at each one of those schools. Similar to the first phase, prioritizing people over parking, meaning although we've got a lot of parking, solar covered parking there, we're focusing a lot on what areas can we shade with solar for the students to be able to spend more time outside. So some basketball courts, the play structure for K3, swing set, and a pickup and drop off area, 2 of those across the campus. So I've got a layout here, I'll share briefly on that. This one is a little different for those of you that may have looked at the contract, a little different in how we structured this. The first 2 phases were a turnkey construction contract with all the scope listed out. This one we structured a little bit different, and then it's a not to exceed. Reason being, the one big beautiful bill, one of the casualties of that was all things sustainability grant related. So in order to capture the ITC funding for that, that's sunsetting at the end of this year, we had to structure this a little bit differently. So we've got the preliminary design of this, and for us to capture, it's $2.5 million in additional funding, free funding, that we'll be able to capture through that. But to do that, we've got to secure panels before the end of the year. So we're just structuring the contract a little differently. So if you see that, that's why. As far as the layout, this is the preliminary design that we've got, and we'll continue to tweak as we go forward. But you can see there's all sorts of different solar arrays from, like I mentioned, a lot of solar-covered parking, but also the K-3 structure is covered. There's the student pickup and drop-off areas that are covered to the best of our ability, and a few other areas. And then those two green icons are where we believe the EV bus chargers will be on each one of those sites, so that you've got, not just at Brogan Center, but you've got two chargers on the east side as well, kind of diversify as you're investing in your EV fleet. You've got another option there for charging those. As far as the project financials, again, these are preliminary at this point. We'll continue to tweak these and see if we can get this down as low as we can. But we're looking at roughly about $10.8 million that we anticipate for the turnkey cost of this before the grants. After that $2.5 million in ITC funding, we're looking at a net cost of about $8.3 million. Compared to over the life of this solar, we're guaranteeing just over $14.3 million in total life cycle savings. So about an $8 million investment for a $14 million payback on that is what that looks like. And lastly, as far as next steps, pending the governing board's approval tonight on this, we will be finalizing the contracts and procuring those solar panels just before the end of the year, so we can make sure that we're checking that box to continue to maximize funding there with the ITC. And then we're working closely with DLR and Core Construction on the timing of this, because there's a lot going on in those two sites in a very limited time period. So we're working with them to make sure that we can get those installed and up and running prior to school starting around their schedule. And that is all I have. I'd love to entertain any questions or comments you might have.
Mr. Lemon.
Thank you, Madam President. With the early procurement of the solar devices, where are they going to be stored? Here in Arizona, at Brogan Center, or somewhere else you guys have?
Wonderful question, Mr. Lemon. A couple options there. We haven't gotten that far. We're doing this for a few other projects. Two options we're exploring is either off-site storage, which they charge little to nothing, only a couple $100 a month to store that, either off-site storage, or if the district would prefer getting those on-site in some sort of secured storage. We'll work closely with Dave and Eric to figure out the details of that, but we've got options.
Mr. Thierry?
Thank you, Madam President. So just to review, we have several different budgets. We don't have one budget here. We have our capital budget, we have our M&O budget, and the capital budget's what we use for big things like schools and buses and things like that, solar panels. And then the M&O is how we pay salaries, how we pay the bills, the utility bill, that sort of thing. So we're currently capital rich and M&O poor. Every district's always M&O poor. And so because we're buying all of these solar panels now, it's going to save us those M&O funds in the future. And that's specifically why we're doing it, is we have this capital money now. So that's specifically why we're doing this. We're trying to invest in the future so the bills are lower in the future. Mike? All right.
Spot on.
Brendan, I want to take a second to tell you a few comments that I've gotten back over what's currently happened already. One, it was quick, efficient this summer on all the solar panels that you put up. I did have a gentleman who comes from the science world in Washington, D.C., who's a friend of mine who lives in the neighborhoods, one of the neighborhoods where we put those in, and he came up to me and he said, something that I need you to realize, kid, I love being called a kid, over 50, is he said, what everybody's not seeing too is that that amount of electricity is now no longer going to be polluting our air and creating it, and that we were definitely setting an example for our kids. And we just put the dollar, like we're fiscal responsibility, right? That's our job. And I hadn't put that into place. One, I knew that we were setting an example for the future. Two, unique opportunity, especially because this is where we're going, this is where we have to go, and the demand is so high now that we're gonna have to have alternatives. But three, that we're actually able to contribute to the health of the neighborhood. And then with that said, I did get another comment from some neighbors at the schools where we've put in the artificial turf and how nice and lovely that is. And that they just said it just makes the neighborhood just feel fresher. And it was just those little touches. And those little touches, I reminded them we're going to save them thousands of dollars so that we could put it into the classroom and into our kids. So, I mean, not necessarily that budget can't go there, but it can free our budget up to use it for other things. So I want to let you know that there's people recognizing it, and that it has been fun to watch. You guys have been quick, and it's been kind of entertaining because every day I got to watch the McCamey one go up as I went by Broadmoor. And the teachers are really loving the shade on their cars, so we might even be helping paint jobs. It's just a win-win. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for staying on task. Thank you for being aware of all of these changes that we have legislatively, so that we can continue to keep on this path to not use, to use our money the wisest that we can, but be going forward in the future with this.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I have one.
Dr. Driscoll, you didn't have a light, sorry.
So could you tell the community what happens? So you gave us a projection. You said 14.3. So what happens if we don't in that year recoup what you projected us to recoup in terms of savings?
That is a wonderful loaded question. Thank you for that. Yeah, one thing we tend to gloss over in this, but it's a critical part, is that there is legislation around these type of projects to where these are called guaranteed savings projects. And so these savings are guaranteed, which oftentimes doesn't mean as much as it used to as far as a guarantee goes, but for these purposes, the legislation is written specifically to protect the district from projects and making sure that I'm not coming in here saying there's going to be these huge savings and they don't actually happen. So to answer your question, if we say we're going to save $14.3 million, and let's break that down. Let's say we're going to save you $1 million a year and we only end up saving $900,000, we're physically writing a check for that $100,000 on an annual basis to rectify that. So as such, our energy team, they are very conservative on a lot of things that they're projecting because we'd much rather under-promise and over-deliver. So any of the numbers we're showing are financially backed by Schneider Electric. So we have no reason why we wouldn't far exceed those. And if for some reason something happens and we don't, we're on the hook for making the district whole for that. Thank you for that question.
All right, seeing that, I have a motion for approval of the contract with Schneider Electric not to exceed $12 million for installation of solar panels at Curry and Connolly. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. 8.02, discussion, consideration, and possible approval regarding the grievance appeal of employee 8624 pursuant to policy GBK. Do I have a motion? And a second, and then we'll do discussion. Did I get a motion? How about you? Mr. Thierry? Second? Charlotte? Oh, Charlotte got to you with her thumb. Open for discussion. Mr. Lemon?
Thank you, Madam President. It's always difficult when we have personnel items in front of us where we have disagreeing parties. And I think one of the things when we were having our hearing in the closed session, we wanted more information from those two parties, and particularly in relationship to what was happening and what could happen and what rules or regulations may be confusing compared to ASBA's rules and regulations and policies. So, and I just don't remember when we adopted one of those policies in 2012. I don't. I was probably on the board, but I don't remember it. So, anyway, but I think it'd be nice to have a discussion and some more information from the people that are involved in it, the principal and the employee. And I think we're thinking about October 15th, 11 a.m. Maybe we'll even do it remotely, probably.
Mr. Lemon, would you like to table that?
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to table item 8.02 for a future meeting so the administration can bring additional information for board consideration?
I'd like to make a motion to table 8.02.
And I will second based upon the information I just said, shared.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. 8.03, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of performance goals for Superintendent Dr. James Driscoll for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 8.03 superintendent goals.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, oh, is that you from before?
Yeah.
Sorry. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Motion passes. Aye. 9.01, board information. Mr. Thierry?
Sure, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say I was up at the Arizona School Boards Association conference this past week. I was a delegate to vote on what they were going to say is important to them to the legislature. Mr. Thompson was there. We were buddies. We ate breakfast together. It was nice. It's great to see so many people who care so much about education in the state from so many different walks of life to come together from all over the state. So that was definitely a great conference to go to. I was glad to be a part of it. I was also down in New Orleans for the National College Attainment Network conference this past weekend. New Orleans is one of my favorite cities. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. But it's a great conference too, and it's always so fascinating. I was a teacher for a long time, and it's so fascinating to see so many people that work in and around education that aren't actually in a classroom. And part of me, when I was teaching, I was like, we could use the help. Why don't you come here? And now that I'm up here, I realize we can't afford any of those people. So there's a lot of them that would happily do it. But it's nice to get this different perspective and just know how important those external partnerships are, because there truly are thousands and thousands of people in this country who want to help with education, and school districts just can't afford them. So it's definitely nice to be in that space and get to meet all these people who I otherwise wouldn't have met. So we have a lot of people who are working for our kids. It's just inspiring.
Yes, I would like to again thank the community for helping us with continuing education, and also making sure that we are up to date on understanding the changes in law that happen quite often every year. So many of us attended that conference, and I think that I'm personally grateful that I got that time. The second thing I was able to do was attend Broadmoor's Jukebox Time Machine presentation. And I just want to say kudos to all of them. It was standing room only, and I have been singing those tunes ever since being there. So congratulations to everyone who was involved. There was the teachers and the principal, and it was like the entire school was there and involved in it, including the parents and there was community members there too. So congratulations to all of you. I would like to thank my Vice Mayor from the City of Tempe, Doreen Garland, for being here this evening. We are very fortunate to have a city council who puts public education as a priority for us every single day. It's not just when they're on the dais or they're out there talking to others. So I want to thank you and your council for continuing to support us. And I have a treat. Darren, the IT department has gone through some troubles, and I don't think the community understands the stresses that you all go through. We had a major flood a few months ago that destroyed his entire work area, including some of our technology equipment. And then we were hit by lightning with that big storm. And so these guys, you wouldn't know all of this happened because they are quick on their feet and don't want to inconvenience anyone and get it taken care of, so the public doesn't want to know. But I'm telling the public that these guys do a really good job. So how do you say thank you to a group of guys that have done a really good job that you're really worried about? I went onto the Navajo reservation to a friend of mine who made you a sage stick, and I know it might be illegal for you to light it in the office, but it has been blessed, and it has been blessed by an indigenous person who gave me the right to give this to you to use. And I'm hoping that Dr. Driscoll could find a way that they could maybe change up their energy a little bit down there, so that they're just not necessarily in harm's way all the time. So if you need to use this out in the parking lot just around you guys, I heard that energy will help it. I don't know, but this is for you guys as a thank you and a hope that you can continue to have better energy in your department so that you don't have to keep, walking on eggshells all the time to try to fix things for us. But just know that it's appreciated what you guys do. And I'll leave that there so you can get it later. I think that's it. Did anybody else have anything? Okay. 10.01, announcements and upcoming events. Parent-teacher conferences will be held September 23rd through September 26th, 2025. There will be an agenda committee meeting on Wednesday, September 24th at 11 a.m. Fall break will be Monday, September 29th through Friday, October 10th. All schools will be closed. The next regularly scheduled governing board meeting is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 at 7 p.m. Oktoberfest at Tempe Town League, which benefits Tempe sister cities, will be held on Friday, October 10th, 2025 from 5 p.m. to midnight. Saturday, October 11th, 2025 from 10 a.m. to midnight, and Sunday, October 12th, 2025 from noon to 10 p.m. at Tempe Town Lake. District-wide staff development will be held on Monday, October 13th, 2025. All schools will be closed. And 11.01, do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
Motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Good night, everybody, and thank you for coming.